Snow is still on the way for southern Wisconsin, but the storm's track has changed. How much snow can you expect in your neighborhood?
And I'm Ellie LaLiberte in Juneau County. How this season's lack of snow is impacting farmers and consumers.
We just want to serve our country. We want to continue to serve, do the jobs that we were set up to see.
And later, a former combat medic shares her experience serving in the U.S. military. We welcome you to News 3 Now at 6. Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us, everyone. I'm Sarah Carlson. Eric is off today. We begin with the weather, where after weeks of little to no snow, this could be happening. Southern Wisconsin may finally be getting into the weekend, at least. For more on what's to come, let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington. And not yet, but we're looking forward to it this time.
Yes, yeah, we could use that snow, any bit of moisture that we could get, even if it would rain in southern Wisconsin, we would take that because drought conditions are expanding. We're still expecting snow in southern Wisconsin, where we have dropped the alert day heading. I alluded to this last night during the 10 o'clock newscast, as it looks like the heavier snow is going to be up towards central Wisconsin, Juneau, Adams, Marquette, Green Lake counties. You might get approximately 3 inches, maybe an inch here in Madison. Areas near the Wisconsin-Illinois border, perhaps a dusting, inch at most, unless the weather system track were to change. But I think this is a pretty solid forecast here. We have a winter weather advisory in effect for Juneau and Adams counties for, again, approximately 3 inches of snow as we go late tonight, going on into Saturday. I'll use Future Track to show southern Wisconsin and all of the communities when you can expect snow, and that'll be just coming up in a couple of moments. But as we continue to plan our night tonight, clouds out ahead of that will hold those temperatures up into the mid-20s. Normal highs are in the mid-20s, so the clouds are actually keeping us in a warmer night out ahead of that weather system. Speaking of weather systems, it was a year ago today that former Chief Meteorologist Gary Canelti, and it was an honor and privilege to do severe weather coverage with a historic tornado, several of them that struck parts of southern Wisconsin near the Evansville area and just south and west in Evansville. It's unprecedented to get a tornado in February, the first February ever in Wisconsin history. What makes it even more unprecedented was the strength in EF2. That's a strong tornado in Evansville. More on that coming up in a little bit. And here's that drought expanding across southern Wisconsin. We got abnormally dry conditions across almost all of southern Wisconsin, if not moderate drought. Coming up in a little bit, we're going to be talking about the effects of the dry conditions in southern Wisconsin.
A lot to talk about. Thank you so much, Alex. And be sure to stay up to date on the weather using our First Warn Forecast weather app. It has hourly forecasts, road conditions, and the latest radar. You can download that for free in your phone's app store. Just search WISC weather. For a majority of southern Wisconsin, January of this year was one of the least snowy in recorded history. Our Ellie LaLiberte shows us how farmers are impacted by the dry season.
That's not the sound farmers want to hear this time of year. That's more like it, but we haven't seen a whole bunch of this year.
We're used to dealing with the weather. It changes every season.
Mitch Giebel is a lifelong farmer.
It's in the blood, right?
Working in the fields of Juneau and Sauk counties.
We finish out beef cattle, and we also have a grain operation.
But when you ask him about this year,
it's been complicated.
That complication, the lack of snow.
The main thing that it is just a cover for the crops. Protecting it from that extreme cold that could kill the crowns, or on alfalfa, a wheat crop, just that winter kill.
A majority of Juneau and Adams County were shorted roughly 10 to 15 inches of their normal January snow this year.
It's strange. I mean, we had one snowstorm up here right before Christmas, and that's really all we've had.
But according to Mitch, it could be more than just the farmers feeling the impact.
It does roll down to the consumer. Whatever you are eating or consuming, it's the same thing with eggs right now or anything like that. If there's any little blip and it costs more, and it's just supply and demand.
Heavy rain in the spring and summer could help offset that lack of snow.
It's up to Mother Nature on a lot of it.
But there's no guarantee that the rain will come. And if it does, it may bring flooding or flash flooding threats.
I think the general feeling from farmers is it's a wait and see.
Reporting in Juneau County, Ellie LaLiberte, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Ellie. The finalist for Dane County Director of Human Services is declining her role. That's according to County Executive Melissa Agard. Amy Everett says during a meeting with a county board member, she felt that the member was oppositional and didn't feel like it was a welcoming introduction. Agard says she is committed to quickly finding and appointing a new HR Services Director. In 2023, the Dane County Board rejected Representative Sheila Stubbs for the position after discussing her concerns about her qualifications. Now, Megan Wolf, Wisconsin's top elections official, will continue to serve in her role. The state Supreme Court unanimously ruled that Wolf will not face a confirmation vote in the Republican-controlled Senate. Wolf has been targeted for removal by Republican lawmakers over the 2020 presidential election. Back in 2023, they tried to fire Wolf, leading to the commission to sue in an effort to keep Wolf on the job. Today, the state Supreme Court upheld a lower court's ruling in Wolf's favor. A man is in custody over a deadly shooting that happened Monday in Beloit. Dennis Banks Jr. faces charges of first-degree intentional homicide by use of a dangerous weapon, also possession of a firearm by a felon. A $1 million cash bond was set for Banks in court today. Around 3:45 Monday afternoon, deputies found a person with a gunshot wound on Wisconsin Avenue, and that person later died at the scene. More information about the victim has yet to be released. Madison police say they issued more than 200 underage drinking citations at a bar near the UW campus last Thursday. Officers went to a bar on North Francis and West Dayton Streets to conduct a tavern safety inspection. During the inspection, police say officers found 206 underage customers. The majority of them were drinking with fake IDs, and all 206 have been cited for that. The Wisconsin State Journal is apologizing to its subscribers after not publishing their print or e-paper editions. In a letter to its readers, the Journal said a serious technical outage Tuesday caused the issue. News 3 Now also learned that other local papers with the same owner as the State Journal had similar issues. The paper says that subscribers are still able to access this week's stories online at madison.com, where the letter is also posted. Public health officials say they're seeing a high level of people coming down with the flu recently. According to the Department of Health Services, in southern Wisconsin, 27% of emergency department visits had a flu diagnosis. At SSM Health Madison, 38% of flu tests are coming back positive, and 14 people are hospitalized right now for the flu.
Only 1/3 of Wisconsinites have been vaccinated against influenza this year. The vaccine makes a huge difference in terms of the severity. So if you get it, you might get it and maybe, I feel a little sick for a day or two, but sometimes you don't even notice it.
If you're unsure about going to the hospital, St. Mary's in Madison has an express virtual care option that's available from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. WIAA, the organization that oversees high school sports in our state, says it's taking a look at eligibility rules for women's sports. This just days after President Trump's executive order banning trans athletes from competing in women's sports. Now, the president has also issued an order barring trans service members from serving in the U.S. military. Political reporter Will Keneally is here with more.
Well, Sarah, the full impact of this is unclear. That order is being challenged in court right now, in addition to the fact that the defense secretary has until the end of this month to create a policy to implement that Trump order. Now, this is expected to affect thousands of trans service members across the country. And we spoke with one retired Army first sergeant about the impact that this could have.
Replacing all of that talent will literally cost billions. To up and try to replace everyone, because, there's going to be a shortage in your ranks. That messes with readiness. That messes with the ability for the unit to complete their mission. Okay. This, losing all of that talent does the exact same thing.
Now, this is part of a longer conversation, and you can see more from our interview coming up tonight at 10 and this Sunday at 10:30 on For the Record.
Thank you, Will. And this weekend, the Boy Scouts of America will become Scouting America. The organization announced this rebranding plan last year. The change officially goes into effect on Saturday, which is also the group's 115th anniversary. The Boy Scouts said the rebranding is part of its ongoing efforts to welcome every youth and family in the country to experience the benefits of scouting. The decision came several years after the group began welcoming girls into Cub Scouting and Scouts BSA programs. Well, today is National Wear Red Day to spread awareness of women's heart health. Heart disease is the leading cause of death for women in the country. According to the American Heart Association, nearly 45% of women 20 and older are living with some form of cardiovascular disease. Here at News 3 Now, our team, you can see in this picture here, wore red to show our support. And it's never too late for you to show support as well. The association says that you can learn hands-on only CPR to help save a life, make appointments with your doctor to get checked out, or please donate to the American Heart Association. Coming up on News 3 Now at 6, as egg prices continue to go up, how some people are taking matters into their own hands. Plus, how Wisconsin farmers and the Department of Agriculture, Trade and Consumer Protection are preparing for a possible outbreak of bird flu in dairy cattle.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
Welcome back, everyone. As we know, a deadly strain of bird flu is taking a significant crack at the nation's egg supply. But now some Americans have their own solution, raising chickens of their own. And we see it around here, too. The rise in raising chickens started during the pandemic, but it's now seeing a resurgence because of all these soaring egg prices. Data from the U.S. Department of Agriculture shows more than 20 million egg-laying chickens died last quarter from the virus. Now, the average price of a dozen large grade A eggs was $4.14 in December, up from $3.65 a month earlier, and it's taking a toll on everyone.
All your breakfast restaurants and stuff are going to be feeling the brunt of that, and probably, I'd say, for the rest of this year.
A lot of people are raising them at home, though. The logistics of raising chickens at home can be tough, though, and getting started isn't cheap. Getting started costs vary from about $200 to $2,000 just for the coop, and then chicken rules vary by region. You have to check on that. Then, of course, there is feed, water, and time. Most egg lovers will probably be scrambling, hate to do that, to get their weekly dozen from the local store. And the bird flu threat is forcing the Milwaukee County Zoo to close its aviary, unfortunately. Dead birds washed up on the shores of Lake Michigan in Illinois and Wisconsin. Some of the birds displayed symptoms of bird flu. State officials are testing samples to confirm.
We kind of want to err on the side of caution, and better to close the aviary now with these suspicious cases than wait for a confirmed positive, because by then it might be too late and it might already be up here.
That aviary in Milwaukee is home to hundreds of birds, including some endangered species. Meanwhile, Wisconsin farmers are taking precautions to stay clear of bird flu. So far, no cases have been found in cattle here in Wisconsin. State veterinarian Dr. Darlene Conkle says the Department of Agriculture, Trade and Protection has been in contact with farmers, reminding them to stay vigilant and practice increased biosecurity.
Some of those tools can be as simple as washing hands, keeping everything very clean and sanitized with respect to equipment that's used around animals, including equipment used for feeding and waters and so forth.
Now, in the event a cow catches bird flu, farmers say we should not worry too much because the pasteurization of the milk would remove any of the bird flu in the product, of course, if it were to be processed. Still ahead, the Super Bowl is nearly here, which fan base will tell you StubHub says will have a bigger showing there. Plus, tomorrow is the 1-year anniversary of tornadoes touching down in Wisconsin in February. We have the latest on the recovery. And how much snow can we expect to get this weekend? Alex has the latest radar when we come back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
Welcome back, everyone. You may have heard Alex talk about this earlier. Tomorrow marks 1 year since a tornado hit Evansville, with another tornado hitting parts of Greene County, making history. The EF1 and EF2 tornadoes are the first to have touched down during the month of February in Wisconsin's history. Despite losing a lot, Connie Arndt, who we talked to, is grateful now. Last year, tornadoes wiped out 3 of her barns and damaged her home. She is just one out of nearly 40 households impacted by these twisters. As families continue to rebuild, Arndt says she hasn't lost anything that can't be replaced.
I mean, we learned a lot about ourselves. We learned there's a lot that you can live without, you don't need. We found out that we're stronger than we think and our faith is deeper than we thought.
The tornadoes caused more than $2 million worth of damages. Well, we're tracking that weekend storm system moving in, but first, this viewer wants to know.
Hi, I'm Charlotte from campus. Hey, Alex, how's the weather?
Hey there, Charlotte. Nice to meet you. How's the weather on campus? Well, mild, relatively speaking, for this time of year. Cloudy skies as we go from now to 10 o'clock. There's still snow on the way for campus, too. How much snow can you expect, Charlotte, in your neck of the woods? We're going to talk about that next here. 1 to 3 inches across southern Wisconsin. That's the range of totals. I think about an inch here in Madison, 3 inches further north of the Dells, up towards Juneau, Adams, Marquette, and Green Lake County. So we're still expecting light snow, but changes in the track, as I was alluding to last night during our 10 o'clock newscast, is pushing the heavier snow to the north. That 3-inch amount, 3 inches plus towards central and northern Wisconsin. Again, Juneau, Adams, Marquette, Green Lake counties, you could get up to 3 inches, I think, 1 in Madison, and maybe only a dusting towards the Wisconsin-Illinois border. Our winter storm severity index, what is this? Really what we're looking at here is the impacts from minor to extreme, in this case for snow. And this has been shifting to the north throughout the day, getting up to central Wisconsin, which helps to substantiate this northward trend that we're seeing in the heavier snow totals. Also, we can use Future Track to show that here at 6 o'clock in the morning. Maybe a couple of snowflakes lining up from Juneau, Adams counties, scooting the northern parts of Marquette and Green Lake counties. It builds a little bit further to the south, getting to the Wisconsin River Valley, Lone Rock, Boscobel, Madison, over to Watertown. As we move towards 6 o'clock, the snow flurries barely make it down to Platteville, Monroe, and Janesville. So there could be communities right along the Wisconsin-Illinois border that all you get is a dusting, and then by the time we get into the late evening hours on Saturday, the snow is gone. And we can't forget about tonight, temperatures in the 20s, cloudy skies. It's the clouds that are holding the temperatures up to, well, closer to our normal high temperatures for this time of year. So a mild night, and the winds, light winds for a change. Remember, we had those roaring winds just yesterday. Going on into Saturday, actual air temperatures in the upper 20s to right around 30 degrees. With the better chances of that more accumulating heavy, steadier snow to the north of Madison, north of the Dells, lesser amounts to the south down towards the Wisconsin-Illinois border. Still planning our evening temperatures staying in the 20s. The bottom numbers here are the wind chills. So when you see the temperature and the wind chill about the same, that means it's not very windy out there. So rather pleasant evening overall. After our chance of snow on Saturday leaves, we have a period of cold weather taking us all the way out to Valentine's Day. Keeping an eye on another weather system of significance for the Midwest as we go from Valentine's Day into the following weekend. And well, hey, Alex, how's the weather? If you want to send me your video, all you have to do is just send me a video that says, hey, Alex, how's the weather? And you can start off by saying your name, your location, and hey, Alex, how's the weather? You can send it very easily through these mechanisms. One easy way is just through the First Warn weather app.
Sounds great. Thank you, Alex. Well, there is still time to secure tickets to Super Bowl 59 this Sunday in New Orleans, but it might cost you a pretty penny. According to StubHub, the average ticket price to see the Kansas City Chiefs take on the Philadelphia Eagles is about $7,000. I like my couch better. Anyway, that figure is actually 16% down from last year's big game in Vegas. StubHub spokesperson Adam Budelli says fatigue could be a factor in the lower ticket sales. StubHub is expecting a strong showing at the Superdome from Pennsylvania fans, making up 21% of ticket sales, and about 10% are from buyers in Missouri and Kansas.
And coming up in sports, it's rivalry week on the ice for the Badger women. My Mark Johnson says it's a great weekend for some hockey. That's next on News 3 Now. This time of year is when, as Mark Johnson likes to say, you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Wisconsin has just 2 series left in the regular season. Up first, a top 3 showdown with their border battle rival, Minnesota. Now, the Badgers swept the Gophers back in October, but no matter where or when they face off, it's always a good time when these two hit the ice.
I think it's one of those games that it takes zero effort to get up for, and the whole team's kind of excited. You can feel the excitement from the crowd. I think this is one of the series that everyone looks forward to from the beginning of the year.
If I can't get excited about this weekend, go try something. Maybe pickleball's your thing, or maybe tennis, or maybe golf. I don't know, but if I'm a hockey player, it's a great weekend.
And it's your final reminder to check out this week's Wisconsin Huddle with Ben Dexheimer. Show starts in a couple of minutes right here on News 3 Now. Well, Luke Fickell's secondary got another boost this week when Nizier Forkarine was granted a hardship waiver, allowing him to return to Madison for one final year. Last season, he finished with 51 tackles, 5 pass breakups, and a pick. With Forkarine returning along with Ricardo Hallman, Preston Zachman, and Austin Brown, that unit will be one of the most experienced in the Big Ten. And the wait is officially over. Sterling Sharp is headed to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. During his 7 years in Green Bay, Sharp caught 595 passes for just over 8,000 yards and 65 touchdowns. He was named first-team All-Pro 3 times and was selected to 5 Pro Bowls. Sharp is the 29th Packer to be enshrined in the Hall of Fame, and he'll join his brother. First time 2 brothers are in Canton.
You're kidding.
So that's pretty cool.
That is very cool. And a very cool forecast, too.
Cool, temperature-wise, also cool with snow. We need some snow. We need a little moisture. Main takeaway is heavier amounts is north of Madison, north of the Dells, maybe an inch here in Madison.
All right, we'll stay tuned. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a great weekend.